Hi, my name is Will, and today I am going to be making an Unreal Engine 4 tutorial pertaining to the basic setup of the VIVE, or Steam VR. And in this tutorial, I'm going to be setting up movement and getting the location of the head-mounted display, or the VIVE headset. But when I say movement, I mean actual physical movement. Like you hold down a button on the VIVE controller and you walk in that direction. And when I say like getting the head-mounted display location, you might think, oh, that's not useful at all, or that's super easy. I'm gonna do it anyway. But the reason you might want to get the location of the VIVE is if you want to do a cutscene or a cinematic or something where you want the player to be lying on the ground. In which case, you could set up a level transition to check when the player is on the ground, and if they are, then continue to the next level or wait until they do. Anyway, let's just get started. Right-click in your content browser, make a new folder. Rename it to Custom VR. And then I'm adding an _2 to the end of it. And then we're going to want to open that up. The reason you might want to name it Custom VR, you can really name it whatever you want. But I named it Custom VR because there's probably going to be other stuff in your template folder. Right click inside of it again. Blueprint class, game mode. Name it VR underscore game mode. Again, naming mine 2 because I already have one. Or not 2, not 22. 2. Next, blueprint class, pawn. VR underscore pawn. Can't type today. 2. And now in this pawn, we can open both of these up in here. Sorry, they're opening on my other monitor. Now that we have both of these open, we can go into the VR game mode. It'll either look like this, or it'll have just this menu. You don't really need to worry about this, we're just gonna use this. So where it says default pawn class, that's all you need to change. Just click where it says default pawn and set it to VR pawn. You won't have 2 of those, you'll just have 1 because you don't have another project with it in it. That doesn't make any sense. Whatever. You can close the VR game mode now. That's all you need to do. Compile it and then close it. And now all you need you just need to open the VR pawn and add some stuff into that. So we're going to press the add component button at the top, and you can either search for capsule or scroll down and press the capsule collision. You don't need to press rename, or you don't need to rename it at all, just press enter. Go to add component again, this time typing in SCE and press scene. Again, don't need to rename it. Add component again, type in camera, pick the first camera, but you're going to want to drag this one on top of the scene. Next, we need to add 5 more things, roughly. Add component, Steam VR chaperone, and then add component, type in MO, add motion controller, add left to the end of one, duplicate it, and add right to the end of the other. Alright, now, add a component. There's a lot of components. Add skeletal mesh, name it hand underscore right, and hand, sorry, add another one, hand underscore left. Or you could just duplicate that using Control W. Drag the hand right onto the motion controller right and the hand left onto the motion controller left. Now we're going to compile this. Okay, now all the components are set up, but we still need to change the height and some other stuff that has to do with the capsule and the camera. So press on the capsule and change the capsule half height to 96 instead of 44, and then the capsule radius to 16. So now that's just made a really thin collider. We're next going to click on the camera and change the height to we're going to click on the scene and change the location to -1110. So now what that's done is that it's taken the camera and placed it at the very bottom of the collider. And the reason for that is so when you go to put on your headset, you will pick up your headset and this will track with the headset. So next we were going to go to hand left and skeletal mesh, and you should see a bunch of stuff here. So type in hand and mannequin hand underscore right if you've imported the VR template, or you can use whatever skeletal mesh or static mesh you want. So I'm going to just pick the mannequin hand right for both of them. There's only a mannequin hand right. So now that those, do not move those. Leave them on top, right on top of each other. Don't move them. Press compile. Now, we're done with all the component setup over here. Next, we're going to click on event graph, and we shall now see a bunch of event actor, all this. We don't need any of this except for the event tick. We can delete both of those. Drag the execution wire off of event tick. Add a sequence, or no, actually, don't even add a sequence, sorry. Add movement input. Now, we got a vector, a target, a scale value, and a force. This is saying if it should be moving or not. That's like axes. The direction, or the vector, is what direction it should move in, and the target is what should be moving. Next, we're going to right-click over here, and actually, we don't have to right-click. UE4 has conveniently a components tab over here. We shall drag the motion controller right out of here into the event graph. Press get, and that'll give us an object reference of the motion controller right. We shall then drag off the object out. Let go. Menu should pop up. Type in get world location. Now, sorry, get world rotation, not location. Get world rotation. Now, drag off the rotator and into a rotate vector. Oh, hold on, I'll be right back. Sorry, I had to go do something real fast. Okay, now, after you've added the rotate vector, we're going to go over to here, where it says palette. Click that. And then search for motion controller. Or, no, type in get thumb right. There will be a lot more of these. It's just the fact that I've only set up 2 for tutorial purposes. So drag out both of these. So that is just getting the thumb stick right and left. The thumb pad right and left. And so these both have outputs of floats. Drag the get motion controller Y out. Type in make vector. like that one. Except for some reason it plugs into X, so you need to, yeah, that's right, you need to flip these because there was issues when I plugged them in the other way. So for some reason, I don't know. So thumb right X is going into Y, and thumb right Y is going into X. Next, drag out the vector node into the rotate vector. Next, then we just drag out the return value into world direction. Okay, cool. Compile that. And then we are going to right click here. Motion controller. Actually, let's type in grip. Alright, so now we have our motion controller right grip 1. So the grip is the button on the side of the motion controller that you can grab fairly easily. And I think that's suitable for the walking. And what we need to do is variable. Type in should add force. Drag that out. Or actually, hold Alt twice. That drags out 2 set values, and then hold Control and drag it out. That adds out again. Drag the pressed into set and the released into the other set, and when pressed, check should add force. Go over here to the get value of that and drag that into the add movement input force. Now, let me go back and explain this. So, up here, we are getting the rotation of the... Here, let's comment this. So, get controller rotation. Sorry, I spelled that wrong. Okay, next, we are getting the thumbstick. Not thumbstick. Get thumb pad input. Next, down here, add force if button pressed. Add force if button pressed. Hey, add input. Movement. Okay. Alrighty. So we got our get controller rotation. So that's getting the controller, or that's getting the rotation of the right controller. Next, we are getting the input vector from our thumb pad. And so make vector. Down here, it's setting if grip is pressed. Set should add force to true. If it's when it's released, it should add to false. That's just like a toggle, or it's just like a hold down or not hold down. Over here in input, that is every frame. It updates this if it can, and then rotate vector. It takes the thumb pad input and the get controller rotation input, combines them, and then plugs it into world direction. And then that takes the force boolean, and then plugs it into force. Okay, now that's it. That's all it takes. Really, I thought it'd be more complicated too, but that's all it takes right there. So I hope you guys enjoyed that tutorial thing. I couldn't find the actual video tutorial. I know I learn better as a visual learner more than reading something. But yeah, that is how you set that up. I hope you enjoyed the video, and peace.